It began on a busy afternoon, with coffee cups clinking, chairs scraping the sidewalk, and strangers lost in their own worlds. No one expected a single question to soften hearts, or a simple answer to rewrite a future. Before we begin, take a second to support stories that remind us of our shared humanity. If you enjoy heartfelt stories like this one, please subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. You're watching Kindness Diaries, where real kindness still matters. The cafe sat on a corner street, sunlight bouncing off glass windows and red umbrellas shading outdoor tables. Inside and out, people talked, laughed, scrolled on their phones, and hurried through their day. At one of the outdoor tables sat a single dad named Mark, mid-30s, tired eyes softened by the presence of his young daughter, Lily. She swung her legs gently under the table, sipping hot chocolate with both hands like it was something precious. Mark hadn't planned on stopping there. Money was tight, and days were long. But Lily had asked for a treat after school, and he couldn't say no to that hopeful smile. So they shared one pastry and talked about her spelling test and the picture she'd drawn in class. That's when he noticed her. She stood a few steps away, holding herself steady with quiet confidence. A young woman, early 20s, wearing a simple red dress and using crutches to support herself. One of her legs ended above the knee. Her hair fell over her shoulders, and her face held a mix of hesitation and courage. She scanned the tables. Every seat was taken. People looked up briefly, then away. Some shifted in their chairs. Others pretended not to see her. The cafe felt suddenly louder, like the world rushing past her question before it was even asked. She took a breath and stepped closer to Mark's table. "Excuse me," she said softly. "Can I share this table?" Mark froze for half a second, not because he didn't want to help, but because life had trained him to pause. He worried about space, about his daughter, about whether he'd say the right thing. But before he could speak, Lily looked up. She smiled. "Yes," Lily said brightly. "You can sit with us." The young woman's eyes filled with surprise. Mark felt something loosen in his chest. He nodded and pulled out a chair. "Of course," he said. "Please." She carefully sat down, placing her crutches beside the table. Up close, Mark noticed the tiredness in her eyes, the kind that comes from fighting quiet battles every day. "Thank you," she said. "Most places are full, or feel full." They sat in an awkward silence at first, the kind that hangs heavy when strangers share a space. Lily broke it by asking the most honest question she could think of. "Does it hurt?" Mark held his breath. But the young woman smiled gently. "Sometimes," she said. "But not right now." "My name's Lily," the girl said. "That's my dad. I'm Anna," the woman replied. "It's nice to meet you." Lily. Conversation slowly unfolded, like a door opening inch by inch. Anna talked about her day, how she'd just finished a long physical therapy session. Mark shared that he worked 2 jobs and tried his best to be both mom and dad. Lily listened carefully, as if every word mattered. Other people at nearby tables began to notice. They watched as laughter replaced tension. As coffee cups were refilled. As 3 strangers became something softer, connected. Anna confessed that she often avoided busy places. Not because of her leg, but because of the looks. The silence. The way people didn't know where to put their eyes. "Today," she said quietly, "I almost turned around." Mark felt a familiar ache. He knew what it meant to feel invisible. To feel like the world had already decided who you were worth being kind to. "I'm glad you didn't," he said. When the check came, Mark reached for it out of habit. Anna noticed and stopped him. "Please," she said. "Let me." Mark shook his head. "I've got it." Anna smiled, but there was something firm in her eyes. Kindness goes both ways. They laughed, and Mark realized how long it had been since he'd laughed like that. As Anna stood to leave, she picked up her crutches and paused. She looked at Lily, then at Mark. "Thank you for seeing me," she said. "Not just the obvious parts." Lily stood up and hugged her without thinking. Anna blinked back tears after she left. Lily looked at her dad and said, "Daddy, I think she needed that." Mark nodded. "I think we all did." That evening, as they walked home, Mark felt lighter. Not because his problems had vanished, but because kindness had reminded him he wasn't alone. Somewhere across town, Anna walked with a steadier step, carrying more than just her crutches. She carried a moment of belonging. Sometimes kindness doesn't look like grand gestures. Sometimes it's a chair pulled out, a question answered with yes, a table shared, and if we're brave enough to say yes, we might just change everything, for someone else, and for ourselves. If this story moved you, remember, kindness is always closer than we think. Share it. Live it. And keep writing your own chapter of compassion with Kindness Diaries.